Hey guys, this is Kevin from Horology Project. Just want to let you guys know that this is a old video from a few years ago when I first started getting into watches. I recorded my take on the SKX007. Some of my opinions have changed, mainly on the bracelet, but I figured you guys might still enjoy seeing a video. So here you go. Hi, my name's Kevin, and I'm talking about the Seiko SKX007 that I just received. Nothing new here as far as what's already known. I know that this is a popular watch that's often talked about, most likely because it's such an affordable piece at around $200 to $250. You can find that online on Amazon or eBay regularly for that price. I think I paid $240 for this on Amazon. That's for the metal bracelet, which I put back in the box. However, after receiving the metal bracelet, I concluded that it's a little bit of a waste of money. The bracelet's just really cheap, and the end links are really cheap. It looks okay if it's on the wrist, but it's kind of one of those things where you would say looks can be deceiving. I currently put this watch on a NATO strap from a company called Archer Watch Straps. I wasn't paid or anything to review it, but I've bought a few NATO straps from Amazon. And while for the most part, most people can machine fabric straps for pretty cheaply, you can usually buy a strap for under $20 for a 4-pack. This is probably one of the better quality NATO straps that I've purchased. I'm just really impressed by the look and quality of the strap. It's just absolutely beautiful. And I paid a little bit more for that beauty. I think I paid about $20 for this strap. But it's just gorgeous. And while the chances are likely that I'm not going to be keeping this SKX, I definitely want to buy another strap from this Archer company for some of my other watches that I have. I have a Speedmaster that I think I'll buy one of these straps on. It is a little bit of a thicker strap, but not too thick. It definitely inspires confidence. Just so you guys know, I have a 6.5-inch wrist. My wrist does sit pretty flat, thankfully, so I can get away with some larger watch pieces because the lug-to-lug length usually can sit on my wrist okay. I think I have a 50 millimeter lug-to-lug, or a 50 millimeter length on the flat portion of my wrist, even though it's only 6.5 inches. And as many of you know, the SKX has a pretty small footprint as far as the lug-to-lug length is pretty small considering it's a 42 millimeter watch. However, even though I think this watch appears to film nicely or photograph nicely on my wrist, watching it through my screen right now, even I'm thinking to myself, wow, this watch looks great, especially at the price. I don't think I'm going to keep it. I know that's probably heresy for a lot of people to hear that I don't love the SKX, but I've had some nicer pieces, and I've had to pay a lot more money to get into some nicer pieces that I have. But I was just at the Omega Boutique the other day, and I was trying on the Seamaster, and look, the price range between that and this is just astronomical when you consider this is only around $200 and those are over $4,000. But for me, I think I'd rather just wait till I can afford that watch. It just feels a little big for me. I tend to like smaller watches. I have a vintage Seamaster. that is around 37 millimeters. And I guess going from that, even my Speedy, which is bigger, going from those to this, it just seems like a big watch. And while it might film or photograph proportionate to my wrist, when I view myself in the mirror, which I highly recommend that you look at your whole self in relation to the watch in the mirror, it just seems a little too big for me. Some of this has to do with the height of the watch. Now I am wearing a NATO strap, which obviously increases the height of the watch, but as many of you guys know as well, this watch typically can sit low to the wrist because where the pin is on the watch is it's pretty low, so that actually helps it with its height. So despite that help with its height, for me personally, I think the watch is just a little too thick for me, a little too big. So I'm most likely going to be sending this back. It might be safe to say that a 38 millimeter SKX, the SKX013, would look proportionate to my wrist, and I'd probably enjoy that sizing more. However, I think my main qualm has to do with the thickness, so I'm probably just going to avoid that watch as well, because I think it'll just look shorter and squattier since it'll be the same thickness as this watch. I was hoping to like it a little bit more than I do, just because I have a desire to just have a watch that I don't mind throwing around a little bit more. Now, I'm not the kind of guy that, even though I have some nicer watches, tries to overly baby them. I don't mind scuffing up some of my watches. But that doesn't mean that I want to just use some of the nicer pieces that I have for the worst of situations. I was kind of hoping to allow this to be that watch. Just when I travel, for instance, I'm going on a trip to a country to help do some building projects, some mission work building projects. And I don't want to bring any of my luxury pieces just for the sake of the possibility of losing them. And then two, I just wouldn't want to damage them while working. But I was considering this being my watch to do that, and I think I'm going to pass. I'm probably just going to stay with my G-Shock and enjoy that as my beater. Anyways, I hope you like this video. Give it a thumbs up if you found it informative, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on maybe some possible watches that you're wearing and enjoying. And this is kind of my first video that I've ever done, but I was hoping to offer some perspective on an SKX007 on a 6.5-inch wrist. Take care.